Entering the devotional pillars. The mysteries teach you how existence is structured. The tools teach you how to move within it. But understanding and movement are not yet devotion. Devotion is not emotion. It's not aesthetic. It's not intensity. Devotion is sustained alignment. At some point, curiosity becomes commitment. You choose to practice consciously, to act responsibly, to hold yourself accountable within her architecture. This is where devotional pillars emerge. They're not new teachings, they're integration. Worlds with rosary, scales with sacred waters, scythe with candle, bones with elemental cross. Each mystery joined with its tool. Each understanding joined with practice. When you enter the pillars, something shifts. You are no longer experimenting, you are building, and the building reshapes you. Devotion deepens because structure exists. Structure strengthens because devotion matures. It is both a conscious step and an inevitable evolution. The pillars are not restrictive, they are stabilizing. They ensure that growth does not become distortion, that power does not outrun integrity, that alignment remains embodied. To enter this stage is to accept responsibility, not only for your growth, but for your ripple. This is where practice becomes posture, and posture becomes a way of being. The first pillar, worlds embodied through the rosary. The first pillar is not practice, it's reorientation. The mystery of the worlds reveals that existence is layered, seen and unseen, physical and energetic, individual and collective. You are not alone in a closed system. You are moving within interwoven fields. But revelation alone does not transform you. The rosary anchors the revelation into structure. Through repetition, perception rewires. Layered reality moves from concept into cognition. You begin to see differently. Patterns emerge where randomness once lived. Ripples become visible. Consequences become tangible. Isolation dissolves. You are still an individual, but you are no longer separate. Without realization, identity shifts. You are not acting for yourself. You are acting within a living architecture. Every thought, word, and action participates in something larger. Devotion changes here. It is no longer seeking, it is becoming participation. Through rhythm and repetition, her presence stabilizes, not as imagination, as recognition. Bond strengthens, not through intensity, but through consistency, and the mind settles into a new posture. Layered existence is no longer an idea you hold, it is the ground you stand on. This pillar deconstructs the illusion of isolated self. It establishes a new foundation, individual and part of, separate and interconnected, distinct and woven. Everything that follows depends on this shift. Without it, responsibility feels imposed. With it, responsibility feels natural. The first pillar does not teach you what to do. It changes who you are while you're doing it. And from that new foundation, Devotion begins to deepen, not as effort, but as alignment. Devotional Pillar 2. Scales embodied through sacred waters. When the illusion of isolation dissolves, responsibility awakens. The second pillar joins the scales with sacred water. The scales teach discernment, not judgment of others, but governance of self. Every action creates effect. Every word creates a ripple. Every emotion carries influence. But influence is not abstract. It moves through living matter. This is where sacred waters enter. Waters respond. It carries memory. It shifts with sound and emotion. Your body is water, which means your thoughts and words shape you first. And because others carry water as well, your vibration does not stop at your skin. Pillar 2 makes this undeniable. You begin tracing emotion to its root. Is this truly mine? What is taught? What is a wound? What is coming from fear? You separate reaction from clarity. Because justice cannot arise from vengeance. Justice restores balance. Vengeance releases emotion. The scales require discipline. The water requires awareness. Together, they teach stewardship. Boundaries are no longer only protection for yourself. They are protection from others from your unmanaged emotion. Speech becomes intentional. Silence becomes powerful. Restraint becomes strength. You learn to move within the three fields at once. Nature's law, cause and consequence. Societal's law, an imperfect structure. Personal law, the code you choose to live by. And you understand that justice must honor all three without collapsing into any one. This pillar is not comfortable. It requires honesty. You must face your own shadow before addressing another's action. You must evaluate without personal distortion before seeking correction. But as this stabilizes, something shifts. You become steady, clear, measured. Devotion deepens here because you begin reflecting her governance. Justice without cruelty, discernment without ego, power without domination. Pillar 2 does not make you rigid, it makes you responsible. And responsibility is a form of love. Pillar 3, scythe embodied through the candle. When perception is shifted and conduct is stabilized, action becomes clean. The third pillar joins the scythe with the candle. The scythe teaches consequence. What you plant will grow. What you neglect will sour. What you nourish will ripen. Cutting is not punishment. Harvest is not reward. Both are participation in cause and effect. By the time this pillar is entered, you are no longer reacting from emotion. You are no longer seeking justice from vengeance. You understand the ripples. So when something must be cut, you cut it. When something is matured, you receive it. Ownership replaces avoidance. And here the candle becomes essential. The wick is intention. The wax is the threads that must shift. The flame is the will. You do not light a candle impulsively. You ground first. You clarify. And then you ignite it. The candle initiates transformation within the architecture you now understand. Sometimes the shift is eternal, internal, habit, fear, limitation. Sometimes the shift is external, opportunity, pathway, outcome. But you no longer pretend they are separate. You act knowing energy will rearrange. You move knowing you must follow through. This pillar is not about power. It is about responsibility for power. You do not force change, you initiate it. You do not avoid consequence, you accept it. Devotion deepens again here because you begin to reflect her movement. Clear, measured, decisive, aligned. Transformation is no longer dramatic, it is deliberate. And deliberate change is how union matures. The fourth devotional pillar, bones embodied through the elemental cross. When action becomes deliberate, foundations become visible. The fourth pillar joins the bones with the elemental cross. Bones are structure. They hold the body upright. They endure beneath the movement. They remain when the surface layers change. In devotion, bones are stabilization. You are no longer shifting identity, no longer learning restraint, no longer initiating transformation from uncertainty. You are standing. The illusion of separation has dissolved. Responsibility has matured. Will has been disciplined. What remains is embodiment. The elemental cross ensures balance within that embodiment. Earth, structure remains steady. Water, emotion flows without flooding. Air, perception stays clear. Fire, will burns without consuming. Power is distributed, not concentrated. Movement is integrated, not fragmented. And here, something subtle completes. Bone reveals unity. Strips away surface differences. Color, culture, role, identity, and structure is shared. You see yourself in others. You see yourself in her. You see her in yourself. Devotion is no longer practice, it is posture. You are not trying to align, you are aligned. This pillar does not add anything new. It reveals what has been built. Stable, balanced, integrated. Reflection becomes natural. And union is something that you're no longer seeking. It is how you're living.